Excuse me, madam, but it seems to me, unless I'm mistaken, that I've met you somewhere before.
I too, sir. It seems to me I've met you somewhere before.
Was it, by any chance, at Manchester that I caught a glimpse of you, madam?
That is very possible. I'm originally from the city of Manchester, but I do not have a very good memory. I cannot say whether it was there I caught a glimpse of you or not.
Good God, that's curious. I, too, am originally from the city of Manchester, madam.
That is curious.
Isn't that curious? Only I, madam, I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
That is curious. What a bizarre coincidence. I too, sir. I left the city of Manchester about 5 weeks ago.
I took the 8:30 morning train, which arrives in London at 4:45.
That is curious. What a bizarre coincidence. I too, sir. I took the same train.
How curious that is. Perhaps then, madam, it was on the train that I saw you?
It is indeed possible. Not at all unlikely. It is plausible, and why not? But I do not recall it, dear sir.
I traveled second class. There is no second class in England, but I always travel second class.
That is curious. What a bizarre coincidence. I too, sir. I travel second class.
Good Lord, that's curious. Perhaps we met in second class, my dear lady?
That is certainly possible. Not at all unlikely. But I do not remember very well, dear sir.
My seat was in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear lady.
Good Lord. What a coincidence. My seat was also in coach number 8, compartment 6, my dear sir.
How curious that is, and what a bizarre coincidence. Perhaps we met in compartment number 6, my dear lady.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible, after all. But I do not recall it, dear sir.
To tell the truth, my dear lady, I don't remember it either. But it is possible that we saw each other there, and the more I think of it, it seems even very likely.
Oh, truly, of course, truly, sir.
How curious. I had seat number 3 next to the window, my dear lady.
How curious that is. Good Lord, what a coincidence. I had seat number 6 next to the window, across from you, dear sir.
How curious that is, and what a coincidence. That means we were seated facing each other, my dear lady. It must have been there that we saw each other.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible. But I do not recall it, dear sir.
To tell the truth, my dear lady, I don't remember it either. But it is possible that we saw each other there on that occasion.
Oh, it is true, but I'm not sure of it at all.
Dear madam, were you not the lady who asked me to place this pursuit case up in the luggage rack, and who thanked me, and who gave me permission to smoke?
But of course, that must have been I, sir. How curious it is. How curious it is. What a coincidence.
How curious it is. How bizarre, and what a coincidence. It must have been at that moment that we came to know each other, madam.
It's indeed possible. So curious. But I do not recall it, dear sir.
Nor do I, madam. Since coming to London, I have resided in Bromfeld Street, my dear lady.
How curious that is. What a coincidence. I too, since coming to London, have resided in Bromfeld Street, my dear sir.
How curious that is. Well then, perhaps we have seen each other in Bromfeld Street, my dear lady.
How curious it is. And what a coincidence. It is indeed possible. However, I do not recall it, dear sir.
I have resided at house number 19, my dear lady.
Good Lord! What a coincidence! I too resided number 19, my dear sir.
Well then, well then, well then, well then. Perhaps we have seen each other at that house, my dear lady.
How curious it is. It is indeed possible. But I do not recall it, dear sir.
My flat is on the 5th floor, number 9, my dear lady.
How curious that is. I also reside on the 5th floor, in flat number 9, my dear sir.
How curious that is. How curious that is. How curious that is. And what a coincidence. You know, in my bedroom, there is a bed. And on this bed is a green eiderdown. Now, this bed with the green eiderdown is down at the end of the corridor between the bathroom and the bookcase, my dear lady.
Oh, good Lord. What a coincidence. My bedroom, too, has a bed with a green eiderdown. And it is at the end of the corridor between the bookcase and the bathroom.
How bizarre, curious, strange. That means, madam, that we live in the same room and we sleep in the same bed. Perhaps it was there that we have met.
How curious it is. And what a coincidence. It is indeed possible that we have met there. Perhaps even last night. But I do not recall.
All right. I have a little girl, a little daughter. She lives with me, my dear lady. She is 2 years old. She is blonde. She has one blue eye and one green eye. She is very pretty, and her name is Alice, my dear lady.
What a coincidence. Good Lord, what a coincidence. I too have a little girl. She's 2 years old. She has one blue eye and one green eye. She is very pretty. And her name is Alice too, dear sir.
How curious that is, and what a coincidence. And bizarre. Perhaps they are the same, dear lady?
How curious it is. It is indeed possible after all, dear sir.
Well, then there can be no doubt about it. We have met each other before, and you are my own wife. Elizabeth, I found you again.
Donald, it's you, darling!